Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit that subscribe button if you're new so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. All right, Scott O'Neill has been kind enough to stop by. He sort of escorted John and I for an hour. You succeeded Greg Norman in 2025, and I think both John and I today, our takeaway on this, because I'd had friends that come, Fox's obviously has a relationship. It's an event. It's a good time. And that's not a criticism of anything. But when you're new, you get those little freebies that you're not beholden to tradition. And you ran the Sixers. You ran Madison Square Garden Network. When you succeeded Greg, your takeaway was, is it an intentional act to be different? Or do you just kind of watch your sport and watch the crowd and listen to the golfers on all these innovations?
Right, that's such an interesting position. I can tell you that having been in sports for 30 years in the NFL and the NBA and NHL, I've seen leagues change. We talked about earlier, Major League Baseball puts a runner on second in extra innings. It has a pitch clock.
I love it.
By the way, two things that I absolutely love. We're Philly season ticket holders. We go to a lot of baseball games. I love it. The two-line pass that just grinded the NHL to a halt, or overtime that could seemingly last forever. Now that 3-on-3 overtime in the NHL, genius. And with golf, we're not splitting atoms and we're not saving lives, but boy, are we bringing fans into this game. So if there are little things we can do to bring new people to this game and live our mission, and by the way, the PGA Tour does a wonderful job in the U.S. All we're saying is we want to take these stars and take them to the world, because the game is growing in Australia, it's growing in Korea, it's growing in China. And we have this opportunity to grow the game. And so if we have guys, stars, like Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm and Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson, I heard you talking about Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, all these stars, if they're willing to get on a plane and fly to Korea, let's go. Let's go grow this game.
Do they ever complain about the music?
No. You know what's so strange?
That existed before you got here, right?
They love the music. On the range, a lot of them have headphones and they're listening to music, first off. But what's really strange to me is they're fine with the music, but if somebody says something on their backswing,
That's right.
Yeah.
They'll step back and look over at them, which to me is strange, but they like the consistency of the music. They like the PA. And on the first tee, you might remember, they're walk-up songs, just like baseball.
They choose them.
They choose them.
Yeah.
And it always is funny. It's the songs they choose always are very fitting.
Dustin Johnson came out to Wonderwall by Oasis.
These guys
I'll never forget that.
They're superstitious, too.
Yeah.
They have a bad round, the song's gone.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So how often do the golfers, because you have a relationship with all of them.
Very, very much
And
so.
and this is, again, I'm not taking shots. Jim Moynihan had some contentious relationships. And my take was always, outside of Augusta, I don't watch golf for the course, I watch it for the guys. Your relationship's different. Like, the golfers are coming over to you.
Yes.
Do they complain? Do they make suggestions? You tell me what you go through. Bryson, Phil, Sergio, what are the conversations like when they call you at 9:30 at night?
Yeah. No, we're a 24/7 operation, and some of those guys like 6 a.m. calls, and some of them like them at midnight, and I'll take them all. I cannot get enough of these players. I always think ambivalence is the worst possible emotion, and whether that be a fan or a player, guys that are passionate and have something to say, I've got a lot of time for. We're very active with the players. Now, they're our business partners. It's a bit of a different model.
Yes.
They own equity in the teams.
Right.
It's a very different model. And so every change we make, every course we go to, the schedule and how it's set up, do you want to play before major or after major? I'm engaging. We're talking about agronomy last night with some of these players. Like, hey, the greens are rolling at 11. The wind's coming in. Should we be watering? Should we not be watering? Should we be pressing? I mean, they are very, very much into making this great. But guess what? This is our third full year. Imagine Major League Baseball in year 3. Imagine the National Football League in year 3. We're year 3.
Well, you're friends with Dana White,
Yes.
who I love, and you love UFC as well.
Yeah.
So I can remember being in a bar in the Bay, and it wasn't UFC yet. Who, by the way, the late John McCain tried to throw UFC off cable.
Yeah.
They were battling for years. You watch an event now, and you're like, man, it's slick. I can remember when Dana took it over, and he wanted corporate support. He's like, okay, we can't do eye gouging.
Yeah.
We can't do this. If you go look at over the course of UFC, now it looks all slick. My wife's not a sports fan. She loves UFC. But the truth is, we live in a very impatient world. LIV Golf's in year 3. Like, guys, take a deep breath. This stuff, it's like a business. I'm in year 4 of the volume. There are things we do now we look at, we're like, why Why were we doing this 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like the world, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's growing.
You know what was going through my head? This isn't the question you asked, but I'm like, Conor McGregor, is that our Bryson DeChambeau?
What did you say?
And do you remember GSP?
Yeah, I mean,
GSP, is that John Rahm? That's what's going through my head as you're
yeah,
talking
I mean,
about it.
it's very similar. And UFC never had the, there are more famous players, I would say, in LIV than UFC's ever had.
course.
At least, I mean, eventually your top 5, 6 guys.
I mean, look at our,
Yeah, Conor
our
McGregor, Chuck
leaderboard.
Liddell. I mean, he's
Chuck Liddell's a good one too.
he's a needle mover for sure.
No, Phil, I asked you, I said, where is Phil now? And you reminded me he had a top 10 finish at Augusta a couple years ago.
Second, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What is, you have a close relationship. What is he now? Is he entrepreneur first? Is he golfer second?
Okay.
I mean, he's slimmed down. What is he?
I mean, he's an enigma, and I don't think there's going to be another Phil Mickelson. He's 54 years old, about to turn 55. His goal this year was to get into the top 10 of this league with a bunch of young stars in their prime, okay? He decided to remake and change his game to be a little less wild, wild west, a little bit more, let's hit it in the middle of the fairway, let's get on in regulation, and let's take this putter for a
Because of
spin.
the team format or just his
No,
body?
No, I think his body's changed. He can't do what these young kids. We talked about Tom McKibben or Caleb Surratt or David Pouge. They're coming in hitting the ball 330 yards off the tee, and he's like, okay, I know I can't do that, but I can beat these guys. I'm better. I'm that good. So that's one part of Phil. The second part of Phil is he's just a competitor. Like these guys, you look at golfers from the outside before I came to this business, and I'm like, God, it's nice. These are not gentlemen, okay? These are guys who are so fiercely competitive. When they come off the course, they're like, they have all this testosterone and adrenaline rolling. I'm like, I like to see it. I mean, we do a little corporate thing, a little putting contest. I mean, DJ was complaining that the reads were different. It was a bunch of executives putting alongside this competition. These guys want to win and want to fight, and that's the other side of Phil. And the third piece is, think about Phil, the learner. Think about, like, Phil saw what Bryson was doing on YouTube, and he's like, why can't I do that? So he partners with Grant Horvath. Now he's got 400,000 followers on YouTube. Phil Mickelson, 54-year-old Phil Mickelson, reimagining himself, reinventing himself. And then he's obviously the captain and one of our partners in High Flyers. So he's always, I see him on the first tee. I'm like, hey, Phil, good luck. Knock him dead, give him hell today, and he wants to talk about the business. Okay, Scott, how many fans are we going to have here today? When you're looking at a market in you, I mean, I'm like, this guy's for real.
Yeah.
So I've been around some of the great execs in the world. David Stern was a longtime mentor of mine. I worked for him for 8 years, and I just remember him being this lifelong learner. Adam Silver, the current commissioner of the NBA, always learning, always reaching, always discovering, always figuring out, what do I have to do next? That's Phil Mickelson.
Was duels his idea, or was that yours?
No, that came out of, look, we've been studying YouTube spaces. If you walk the range and talk to the little young kids, which I like to do, I always say, who's your favorite player? Bryson DeChambeau. Really, how'd you discover Bryson? YouTube. So I think once we saw the revolution happening on YouTube.
I bet when Grant or Fat Perez come out here, they're just as famous as some of the golfers.
No, it's amazing. So for those of you who don't know, the Duels is a program we have golf influencers, and they play along. They partner up with one of our stars, and then they play a competition for money for the And the fact that you can get John Rahm to give 4 hours of his time to play an event, it's pretty special.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens in any other sport anywhere else in the world.
None of us are born in a test tube. Billy Joel said in his recent documentary, we are all have influences. All of us in our life. We have mentors. It could be our dad. Do you look at, say, F1, and you look at it and think, it's a little bit of an inspiration for us? Are there sports that you look at? Because we connect you to golf, but golf's global now. Yeah. And I look at F1 and I think, and UFC, and I think, oh, that's LIV Golf. That's how I view it. Do you look at
That's 100% of how I see it. When you say golf is global, I would push back on you and say, well, maybe before Tiger, the sport was global. You had the European Tour and the PGA Tour, like sitting side by side, and then Tiger comes and all the money, all the sponsors, all the TV money shifts over to the PGA Tour, and so then 42 events a year, you got every great player in the world playing in the U.S. and like Formula One, we go to Riyadh, and then we go to Australia, and then Hong Kong and Singapore and Mexico City, and yes, we're here in the U.S. for 5 times a year, which is in the UK. Fantastic. We love being in the U.S. I'm an American. I absolutely love it here. But the growth of the game, if you want to grow the game, you've got to take stars and you got to put them in Korea. You've got to put them in Hong Kong. And that, we think, attracts more young fans and talent to this game, and this game is going to the moon.
What are the demographics quickly on, I mean, you've looked at all of them.
Yeah.
What is the average LIV Golf fan? What's the demo?
Yeah, we're about 15 years younger than a typical golf fan.
That's what we saw today.
Yeah.
It was young.
And what you might also see if you get to walk a little bit is you'll see parents pushing strollers. You'll see, groups of women coming. About 40% of our audience is female. It could be a good dating opportunity for those of you who are single out there. Come to see LIV. So it's a younger. It still has disposable income. We do have concerts, So we have in the next coming, we've got Swedish House Mafia. We have Imagine Dragons. So Jason Derulo. So we have concerts that I think attract a younger audience as well.
One question I'm sure you get a lot is unification,
Yes.
right? You're an NBA, NFL. The new commissioner of the PGA Tour, CEO, whatever the heck that position is.
Yeah.
He's an NFL guy. Have you guys talked? Just what the chatter out there? What is the reality of what's going on?
So I'm not sure it's like the NFL. I think it's more like NASCAR and Formula One. So the question is, should NASCAR and Formula One figure out a way to work together? I think so. Brian Rolap and I went to school together, so we know each other fairly well. I've known each other for a long time. He's really early in his job. I think he's 2 weeks in. And most importantly, we have less scar tissue, and that's throughout the whole industry. I'm new, the LPGA commissioner's new, now Brian at the PGA Tour is new, Mark Darbin at the RNA is new, so you have all these new people here. And why are we all here? Because the boards in all of golf looked around and said, I don't think this is good enough. I don't think we're heading in the right direction. I think we've got to find a way to put more players playing together. How are we going to do that? How are we going to lift up? How are we going to compete against cricket and football and tennis? And why are we competing against ourselves so much?
When you have an event like this, how do you select? Obviously, you want to make it global, but how did you select Chicago?
Right.
How does it? I mean, is that your call?
Yeah.
Before you, was that predates you? Greg Norman. Who makes the decisions? Where you play? Why?
Right. So the board has to approve. So our chairman has to approve. And Ross Hallett runs our events, like a 30-year executive in golf, mostly at IMG, is now here. And then I'm very engaged, of course. Now Chicago, why not Chicago? I mean, it's one of the great cities of America. It's a big golf starve in terms of this area, and this course is absolutely spectacular.
You mentioned something earlier, and you know this, being in Philadelphia. When you live in a city with 3 or 4 cold winter months, when the sun shines in March, everybody jogs, like non-joggers jog. So my take was, it works in this city because for 4 months you don't go outside. Is that something you would, like Philadelphia's got that feel.
Yeah.
Boston has that feel.
Yeah.
I spent some time in the Northeast. I mean, if it's sunny in April, Boston is like jogging capital of the world. Do you think about, because you're such an event, this is an event we're watching. Yeah. It's not about history, it's about what town or city works for us. Is that under consideration?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we were just in Dallas, though, and that's sun almost every day of the year.
Right.
And it was blazing hot. We had 50,000 people show up. Yeah, so, we're in the UK, the sun's never out. I lived there for 2 years, and we have 40,000 people come there. So I feel like if we do our jobs and let people know that we're in town with the kind of star power we have, good things happen. When you put a music act around it, we have Good Charlotte here playing today. I can't tell you who Good Charlotte is. I can tell you my daughters can. And so there is a younger demo we're looking for, and I think if we go to the right markets, in many cases, we're going to Indianapolis, not exactly a powerhouse market, right? But it's a golf starve market, and that is a market that knows how to rally for big events. I've been there for Final Fours. You know how that handles a Final Four. It does it really well, and I think they're handling us really well.
Well, I sent a pic to our mutual buddy Howie Roseman, and if Howie's dealing with a player, it's either the player or the agent, right? He doesn't have to deal with anyone else. Golfers have an entourage. They got coaches, they got agents, they got a lot of people around them. How do you deal with that?
Oh, this is a league of alphas. So if John Rahm or DJ or Phil or Bryson have an issue, it's one-on-one. Yeah, it's one-on-one.
That's okay.
But remember how complicated a relationship is. We sign them, We have to hug them. They're our business partners. We find them when things go wrong. So it's a complicated relationship, like how you manage that ecosystem.
How does someone, if you don't know these guys, obviously when you get the job, forge a relationship in a short period of time with Phil, Bryson, all these guys? How's that possible?
Well, we spent a lot of time together. I mean, we've been on the road for 7 months, and we effectively live on airplanes and hotels and at the course together. So time was one. Second is you put infrastructure in place. So I have team breakfast, at least one time. We have all kinds of committees that we get together. I'm interacting with them. We eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. I mean, we're with these guys all the time.
That's true.
And so, and then it's about, am I curious enough? Am I humble enough to engage?
Yeah, we talked about this before you came on. And if you're just tuning in, this is Scott O'Neill. He's a LIV Golf CEO, and he worked for the Sixers. Ran that organization, and MSG Entertainment. Is that what you ran?
The New York Knicks and New York Rangers.
Okay, that's a big job. James Dolan.
Yes.
Yes.
I just spoke to him 2 days ago.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I don't like what they did with Tom Thibodeau, but that's another podcast.
No, it sure is. Heck of a coach.
He is. When you look, you're obviously going to expand, and you want to keep doing that globally. Is where the money comes from. Are there demands that you have to meet? Do you feel like?
Is there pressure?
Yes.
Yes. Of course there's
because
pressure.
there's always this hey, money is endless. Money's not an issue, and I always think money's an issue everywhere.
Everywhere, of course. You know, I've worked in private equity now for 12 years, okay? For Josh Harris and David Blitzer from Apollo and Blackstone, and in my last role with a Blackstone company, and now here with PIF. And yes, there's a lot of pressure to deliver business, and that's what I signed up for. Like, I can't get enough of this. I will tell you, there are very few times in life, you probably both have it too, where you can't wait to get up in the morning. Yeah. Like, there's so much fun here that I cannot wait to get out of bed and get kicking. Like, my hard thing for me is turning it off, not turning it on. So pressure, bring it on. As Brooks Koepka always says, pressure's a privilege.
So relegation is happening
yes,
this year? So when that happens, where are you purchasing the players from to fill those spots?
Yeah, so good question. So in some cases we have promotion events. So we have the Asian Tour, the best person on the Asian Tour gets an invite in. And then we have a promotions event where you can earn your way in. And then we'll go talk to PGA, European Tour, NCAA players.
So signing a player from the PGA Tour is still on the table?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Scott O'Neill, this has been great.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Good to be a member of the herd.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott.